Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We're back here on YouTube, and this week we're talking about when to increase your stroke rate. This video is a continuation of last week's video on increasing your distance per stroke. Strokes per minute and distance per stroke are the two variables that influence your overall speed. Increasing your speed would be a combination of getting more strokes per minute or more distance per stroke. The reason I wanted to make a follow-up to last week's video is I did receive some messages with a few ideas that weren't fully completed. When we make these videos, I don't want them to be 20 or 30 or 40 minutes sitting here breaking down a concept in its totality. There are things that we kind of go over in broad detail and skip over. So this video should help fill in the blanks on the relationship of strokes per minute and distance per stroke. Strokes per minute and distance per stroke work inversely of each other. As one of these metrics increases, the other metric is going to drop down. So if you only take 1 stroke per minute, you're going to get a lot of distance on that singular stroke because you're going to let it glide to a maximum. If you take 200 strokes per minute, you're not letting the boat have time to glide at all. So the distance per those 200 strokes per minute is going to drop very quickly. This is one of the big problems within paddling and all aspects of what we're trying to do within a paddle stroke is finding the balance. We need these numbers to come close enough together that they remain as large as possible. That way when we multiply them together, the end result of speed is at its maximal efficiency. And as humans, we want to lock on to the most extreme idea. Robert, I want to take 1 stroke per minute. Robert, I want to take 5,000 strokes per minute, right? We try to go to these polar opposites trying to find success. And the idea is we're looking to do both. We're trying to get as much out of each stroke as we can and take as many strokes as possible with that distance per stroke, because this is what gives us the highest number when we multiply them together. So in last week's video, we went over the goal distance per stroke that we're looking for, and those numbers are going to be listed right here. Now keep in mind, these variables are more or less for intermediate level paddlers, right? So once you've hit these metrics, it means that you're moving a boat fairly competently. But keep in mind that adding to these numbers and having metrics that look like this puts you in the scape of being a professional level racer. Even if you obtain these metrics, or if they seem impossible, just keep in mind that there is more to the mountain and climbing it to what's truly possible with the human body inside these paddle crafts. So now that we have these metrics, now we can work backwards from that to try and get an ideal stroke rate. These ideas work proportional to each other, right? And the whole idea that we are trying to improve on and elaborate from is if you are struggling to get distance per stroke at a certain metric, increasing your stroke rate will only devalue this number. So in an outrigger canoe, for you to hit 10 feet per stroke, if you cap out at 40 strokes per minute, this just means when you go to 50, you're gonna get less than 10. If you go to 60, you're gonna get much less than 10. And when we start multiplying these numbers together, the end result does not factor in to benefit you all that much. So working from a low value up from here, since they are proportional, if you are paddling at 40 strokes per minute, we wanna be getting 12, 13, or 14 feet per stroke. This shows a mastery of your movement, of your connection with the water, and your overall technique within a paddle stroke if you can obtain this distance per stroke. Now when we increase the stroke rate, you are going to hold on to this larger variable. 14 now maybe goes to 12. When you go to 60 strokes per minute, you're now holding on to the 10 feet per stroke that we were looking for. And this is the factor that we want to think about, is we only really want to increase the stroke rate to match the distance per stroke goal. So if your stroke rate climbs and your distance per stroke drops below these metrics, that's a sign that you can bring back your stroke rate until that variable comes back up to what we're looking for. And if you're doing this, and again, your stroke rate is incredibly low to hit these metrics, this is an excellent sign that it is time for you to really assess your paddling mechanics. So if we wanted to make this a 40-minute video, I could sit here and go through every single variable that influence your distance per stroke. Positive blade angle, top arm mechanics, top arms pathing through the stroke, how your top shoulder is working, how your spine working, how is your hips moving in relation to your shoulders and your knees, how much leg drive do you have, are you pushing with your feet, what is your bottom arm doing, is it bending at the elbow to pull the blade out from the water, how is your rotation, how is your blade's interaction with the water, what is the size of your blade, how long is your paddle, what kind of a handle do you have, and how is your top hand holding on that handle. We can go on every little aspect, how to get more distance per stroke. It's everything that your technique and ability gives you as an end result. If you have all of these little ideas working well when you are operating a paddle stroke, you are going to hit these distinct metrics fairly simple. If you have a mechanical breakdown of your movement and comfort and ability to move fluidly, you are not going to hit these metrics, and that's okay, right? It is a sign that you can now work on it to try and improve it. We do start at the distance per stroke, right? Again, we had this base metric that we're looking for and then work up to the strokes per minute. If you are really good and you can paddle at 70 strokes per minute and still hold on to 10 feet per stroke, that is incredibly fast. And again, looking at pro end racers, a lot of the OC1 men's that I have raced against get 12 feet per stroke at 50 to 60 strokes per minute. Their boat just launches through the water each time, and it is a showcase of their movement mastery and their overall athleticism and usage of their leverages. And the same idea within the kayak. When somebody is very talented, they are getting an incredible amount of distance per stroke, and then they're able to run the stroke rate up very high until that math equation works in their favor. If the stroke rate climbs too high and the distance per stroke drops dramatically, now when you multiply those values together, you don't get the same end speed that you're looking for. Distance per stroke helps you find the balance and then bringing your stroke rate up as high as possible without losing your distance per stroke. This is the key to success. The end goal is to do both. Get the most out of your stroke and take as many of them as you can. Don't let one variable take away from the other variable and hinder your overall success. Thank you all so much for checking this out. If you do have any more additional questions, please leave a comment. You can send me an email. I am here to help you. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. I answer emails for a living right now. I love interacting with the community that we have built here on YouTube and on the online paddle school, and it is my job to make sure that you are understanding all these topics. If you're still trying to figure out how to get more distance per stroke and hold on to that going to higher stroke rates, and you like my little monologue going over some of the factors that go into being a better paddler, check out the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com today. Each one of those sentences that I briefly ran through, each has a 15 to 30 minute video conjunctioning with that to understand it and implement new ideas to make you faster. You can go through the school at your own pace. You are in direct contact with a coach to help you with any question that you have. It is an excellent outlet to understand and how to maximize your ability within a paddling craft. Big shout out to all of our YouTube members, and their names are going to appear here. And I did forget to add one name to my list here, but their name is still appearing here. If you can figure out who it is, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. We have the weekly K2N vlog as well as these weekly paddle tip videos. If you have any ideas that you want to see explored here on the YouTube channel, please leave a comment or email me anytime. It does not freeze here in Florida. If you are somewhere up north where it does freeze and you want to travel down and paddle here at Lake Hernando in Florida, feel free to reach out anytime to schedule camps, clinics, lessons. You name it, we can give you the paddle crafts, we can do small groups, individual lessons, whatever you want to do, we can help arrange it. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you all next week for next week's paddle tip video.